Hi, it's Patty Wipfler here. And today I want to talk with you about listening partnerships. It's one of the listening tools that we talk about in the book, Listen, Five Simple Tools to Meet Your Everyday Parenting Challenges. And it's a revolutionary tool in some ways. Um, it was so helpful to me as a parent. It is the reason that I got into the practice of listening and investigating what listening could possibly do for our children. I just found it such a powerful aid to me being a good person and a patient person and a thoughtful person and a person who can help my children heal from hurt. I'm hoping that your interest in Hand has a little sense of adventure in it so that you might give a little try to this idea of listening partnerships because it has transformed thousands of parents' lives. Thousands and thousands of us depend on listening partnerships to keep moving in the loving and the thoughtful and the able to set limits without harshness direction with our children. So here's a little bit about it, just to pique your interest. So listening partnership is a practice. It's something that is interesting and good to do one time, but the full power of this tool doesn't usually show up the very first time you try it, although that's what happened with me. Sometimes it just winds up being, a moment when you have big feelings to spill and someone offers to listen and they do. And after you've spilled all your feelings, your worries, your doubts, just the negative stuff inside that you really can't tell anybody without feeling like they might take it wrong. When you can do that, you come away able to parent better, able to really love your children again when you were all balled up with worry before. So that it's a practice. The power of it builds over time. It is also an art. It's something that you can learn to do very, very well and become a smarter and smarter person about building human relationships, even with difficult people. So it's a practice. It's something you try once and you see if you want to try it again. But if you pursue it, the power of this tool will build. Okay. A listening partnership is simple. The idea is that when we listen to one another with an attitude of warmth, deep warmth, with respect for how hard that other parent is trying and has tried for years already, with the understanding that every parent does their very, very best every moment of every day. And yes, we screw up, but it was the best we could come up with at the time. And oftentimes, even the times when we do not act thoughtfully towards our children, the way we act is far less harsh than what we received as children from our stressed out parents. So that understanding needs to be front and center as we listen. And when we listen with the thought and the attitude that our listening makes a difference, our listening can really help this person sort through what's on their mind and find the feelings that they need to release in order to relax and be happier in the world. That our listening is important, even when we cannot see its importance at the moment. Those are the attitudes with which a good listener approaches a listening partnership. So if we did a listening partnership, you and me, we would decide on how much time we're going to trade. So maybe I would give you 20 minutes or a half an hour, and I would be your listener and bring all of my warmth and none of my judgment and none of my questions or, gee, well, is your teacher the same one that my kid had when he was in third grade? Da, 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 da. Is it Mrs. Henry? No, just keep all of that out and just pay attention to you while you go through what's on your mind. And then when the half hour or 20 minutes or half hour that we agreed upon is up, then I would stop listening. We would trade trade roles, and you would listen to me with the very best of your warmth and acceptance and caring and respect. And we would get to talk about whatever we wanted. Anything that came to mind would be a good topic. So that's the very simple practice and the very simple guidelines. You don't interrupt, you don't give advice, you don't give somebody your chiropractor's number. You really pay attention and you let them figure it out. You let them use their intelligence. You let them wrestle with the issue. And good open wrestling that doesn't have an end. It sort of stays all kind of ragged and not put together at the end of the listening time is really good. It's like we need a chance to be able to struggle in a safe place with the things that we've struggled with for a while. Nobody can, advise us out of a real struggle to love, to care, to be patient, to set limits without all of the harshness that came upon us when our parents who were stressed set limits. These are all important struggles that don't have to be solved right away in order to move things forward. Little bit by little bit is really how we learn most of the time. So that's the listening partnership. And what it can do is it gives you a person with whom to build the kind of safety it takes to actually reach down and find the deep feelings that you have, the deep fears. With me, one of the things that I found in the first 3 months of my listening partnership was I just noticed that I was looking at my younger son and thinking that he was going to die. And that had been happening for a while, but I hadn't noticed it. It's just kind of unconscious thoughts. And once I noticed it, I went and I talked to my listening partner. I said, I don't know why this is happening, but it's reminding me of my sister who did die quite young after a long and terrible illness. So you find things about yourself that you didn't know. It can teach you things about the other person that you're listening to that are really profound. One of which is that listening is powerful, that your listening matters, that you can help someone by paying attention to their struggle, not getting in there with them and telling them what to do, but just paying attention while they do their struggle and approving of them and holding out the thought that they will figure this out. It's like believing in them. It makes a huge difference to have someone believe in you for, half an hour or an hour a week like that. And to someone to let you work on things and to be pleased with you, whether you come up with anything new to do or not. And what happens is that you don't necessarily figure things out during a listening partnership, but often you just find yourself doing things differently afterwards because you have confided, because you have lessened your emotional load, which you are managing all the time. So those are the things a listening partnership can do. It also can put you in good shape to be a healer for your child. It really teaches you what your child needs as a listener from you when they are upset or when they are struggling. So these are very good things to happen to a parent. So I'll tell you a little bit about how listening partnership was for me the very first time. I listened to a father who was in a very, very difficult situation. His wife had just left him suddenly without warning with a 6-month-old baby. And he had one of these jobs that you have to work 12 hours a day at. And he had been stunned very recently. I think she had left him 10 days before we did this listening partnership. And he didn't know what to do. He was pretty paralyzed, actually. And what was it was the very first time that I ever done any kind of listening to someone, intentional listening with guidelines. And we did an hour each way the first time. And it was one of the most interesting things that I had ever done. Just to have a dad unfold his troubles and his feelings with fully, with me there, assigned to listen. So there wasn't anything I had to do. I just had to pay attention. So in a way, the job was easy. And watching what happened, seeing the fear kind of be released right in front of my eyes, as he trembled and talked and trembled and talked and trembled and talked, was just the most unique thing. And I felt the trust that he gave me. It felt remarkable. It felt so simple and deeply, deeply interesting. It's like, wow, I want to know what happens next at the end of that listening time. And for me, I think the feelings I first had was, it's like, oh, you're looking at me. Oh my gosh, you're still looking. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And I was so full of embarrassment just with the concentrated attention. It's like, I don't know what to do. And I pretty much laughed my way through the first, I don't know, 10 listening partnerships that we did, because it just was, I don't know, I guess embarrassment was like the first feeling that, came up when he paid this kind of rapt attention and just let me be the driver of what happened. Out came all this laughter. And out came, the story of my life. We each talked about the story of our lives. And that too was just, I don't know, education all happens in books and worksheets and somebody telling you what you need to know. And this was like so different, but such a deep education for me. And I just wanted to know everything about, listening to people and learning from their lives and their stories and their struggles and what happened after the listening. So it opens up a whole new world, when people can be unguarded with one another, and when they trust that their stories will not be told beyond this little moment in this little room that we're in. It's an experiment. It takes a sense of adventure, or at least some bravery, to try something new that is this personal. You get to pick who you try it with. Nobody assigns you a listening partner. And it can be a friend. In general, it's better not to have it be your parenting partner unless you have an exceptionally close relationship and safe relationship. Better to learn to listen and make your mistakes with somebody outside your family, before, and then you can bring the skill of listening after you've practiced it for 6 months or so. Then you can begin to bring it into your family and try experiments there, where it's just a little harder to get out of you know, any mistakes that you might need to make as a learner. So you can do it for 5 minutes each way. You can do hour long each way. You can do it when you want. You can do it how you want. You can do it even during COVID, with masks on, 6 feet away from one another. Just beaming as much warmth as you can through your eyes and your body language. You can do it by Zoom. You can do it by phone. And when you've built a good listening partnership relationship, you can set up sort of emergency listening with your partner, that they get to call you during certain hours if things are really hard, and you get to call them during certain hours. And they will listen to you one way, and then you listen to them one way, at the next time that they're in a tight spot and ready to do harsh things to their children. um, they can offload those emotions and go back to their children, in better shape. And you just kind of keep a balance between who listens to who the most. So it can be, you can build yourself a very flexible, very personal support system for the work of parenting, for you, just to refill your gas tank with compassion and with caring and with patience and with, yes, I love you, even though you're doing this crazy thing right now. I know you're trying to tell me something and I don't understand it yet, but I will keep loving you and I'll keep working on what happens to inside of me when you do this thing that just, that doesn't let me keep thinking. So you become a much more able parent, even under pressure, with this listening partnership support that you build kind of person by person and time by time with people that you've chosen, people who want to improve their parenting, people who want to understand themselves and why they go nuts when they go nuts, and understand where the feelings about their children might be rooted, and to work on those feelings so that the love comes through and the caring comes through and the acceptance comes through every day. So that's listening partnership. And in this book, the outline of listening partnerships, what to do and how they work, is explained. It's a pretty brief explanation. I think it's maybe 12 pages. It's not going to take you 3 nights to figure it out, or to get far enough so that you can do an interesting experiment with someone that you choose. And there are 3 stories that I want to tell you, you can read more about. One is a story of a mom whose child had toilet trained beautifully at the age of 2. She had no problem. It had gone really easily. She was so surprised. It was amazing. And he'd had total control over his bodily functions for a year. And then all of a sudden, he began soiling his pants every day. And after a month of this, she was like, why can't you, she found herself being hard on him and kind of shaming and blaming. And she didn't want to do that. She didn't know what to do. And she had a listening partnership. And for some reason, she hadn't talked about this, difficulty before. She took it to her listening partnership, and her listening partner asked an important question, which is a very useful question for us lots of the time. It's like, well, what happened for you around toilet training? What do you remember? And all of a sudden, she just had the feelings started rolling out. She just remembered something that she had totally forgotten for decades. That one day from kindergarten, she came home and she had soiled her pants. And her mom found this, and her mom had put the soiled underwear in her face and rubbed it in. It was just a deeply shocking and humiliating moment. And as she remembered it, and I mean, no wonder she'd forgotten it. It's like, you don't want to remember stuff like that. And your mind protects you from shocking events like that, in deeply humiliating events. But the memory popped out, and she cried and cried and cried. You can imagine how deep the feelings were there. And at the end of that listening partnership, she just was like, wow, I need to work on this some more. But she went home and she had no more impatience with her son. He just, oh, look at that little bit of brown in there. Here, I'll take care of it. And within a month, she didn't even try to figure out what was going on with him. She didn't try using the tools with him around, whatever it was that was making this happen. But within a month, it stopped. It's like she was more relaxed. She had worked on her end of the little log jam there between them. And as she relaxed, he relaxed, and his behavior went back to something more workable. So that story's in there. There's another story of a mom who found herself, when her daughter turned about 12, found herself getting angry with her all the time, and being really upset that her daughter had wants and wanted this and wanted that. And the main feeling the mom was having was, you have everything. You have no idea how much you have. And she took this big anger that was just, it was hanging around all the time, to her listening partner, worked on it, and worked very, very deeply on the tremendous poverty that she grew up under, and on her mom leaving her and four other siblings at around the age of 12, just leaving the family and never coming back, and all of the hard work that happened after that. So, and once she was working again on that trauma in her life, she could really be pleased with her daughter and enjoy her daughter and listen to her daughter's wants and needs without going, you just have no idea how much you have everything. Yeah. And let's see, what's the third? Oh, there's another story in there about a mom who noticed that she was dreading her daughter's entry into nursery school, and she went, well, I wonder why am I dreading this? This is a good school, I've chosen it, what's going on with me? And just worked in listening partnerships about her entry into school, which had there were I don't know, it just was not handled well by her mom. She felt abandoned, she felt left, she felt frightened, and she felt like her world was falling apart. And when she worked on what had happened to her around nursery school, slowly but surely she was able to relax about her daughter's entry into nursery school. And by the first day of school, she was able to be happy that her daughter was going. She was able to feel trusting that it would go well. And her daughter did indeed have an excellent entry to nursery school. So those are some of the powers that you can gain. Some hint of the kinds of change that a listening partnership allows. So I hope you give this a try. It's a little awkward, it's unusual, it's embarrassing, as I indicated before. All those are feelings that you can talk about in your listening partnership once you dive in. And I don't know, interesting things will happen at the very least. And powerful change can come to you if you persist. So enjoy your experiments. And I hope that our book, Listen, can guide you along and reassure you. There are like 130 stories in there of good things that happened with parents who were able to think and experiment and try things with their children that came from having a listening partner, having backing in their parenting, having someone to listen to them. So have fun, try it out, and thank you for the love you give your children.